Well, hello, Crashing In Podcast, and today I'm talking to Sam Redmore. So, it feels like ages since I'd done a podcast, like my last podcast, like, and interviewing bands and stuff like that. And Corduroy was only out last Saturday, which is mad, and if you haven't listened to that already, please do. It's a great podcast, and we get talking about Corduroy's career, rock and roll stories, acid jazz label and more, so it's a really good listen, and had a good response off the audiences of the podcast. Some people got back to me and really liked what I'm doing, and I feel like reaching out to big bands sometimes does really help because it kind of puts Crashing In on the map. So like, I'm glad people are noticing me throughout doing podcasts. Got the Rosillos coming up and that's got a good response as well, so like looking forward to that one. But it's been a long week for me. Crashing In is in the works of something really cool, and I'll be updating you about it after this podcast. So you have to listen to the whole of the Sam Redmore podcast first. Then I'll be getting back to you with some good news / some bad news. Got some bad news, but like it's not the end of the world, but it's something I need to update you guys on. But before that, the Sam Redmore podcast, and today I'm going to be playing some footage out of the Moseley Jazz, Funk and Soul Festival, and it was the first ever set by Sam Redmore and the Tropical Sound Clash band, and I'm going to be playing some footage off that gig. So like, really excited to be playing that on the podcast. And also I'm going to be talking to Sam Redmore about new singles and that. He's recently just had a single out, so we'll get talking about that and what's going on with the future with music for him. And yeah, we get talking about this gig he was playing at the Hare and Hounds. I think it was earlier this month. It was basically like a all-nighter type gig, different to like the usual gigs. Basically, Sam Redmore's band started at 11 and the event didn't finish till about 3 or something like that. So cool touch, but I couldn't stay for the gig because obviously I had to get back home to Wolverhampton. But now I'm going to let you get on with the podcast, and I'm going to start you off with one of the tracks he performed, the band performed at the festival, so I hope you like it. Well, hello, Crashing In Podcast, and today I am with Sam Redmore at the Hare and Hounds.
Hi, how you doing?
I'm doing good, are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Looking forward to the gig tonight?
Absolutely, yeah. We've just finished the sound check and it's sounding real nice in there, so expecting a good night.
So, is it your first gig of the year or second or what?
We did a couple in January,
Oh,
so it's our third with the live band actually. So
nice.
We did one in Birmingham and one in Bristol in January, and they were great. So nice. But looking to move forward and build from that.
Yeah. So from January, you've been having a few singles that come out, and coming from 2021 was Party the first single, or
Party was the first one of this year.
Yeah. And then you had Tears.
Just Be Good to Me was the next,
and Just Be Good to Me, then Tears. Then you had a remix version of Tears, didn't you?
That's right, yeah.
So you want to talk a bit about that and where you can access it and stuff like that?
Sure, yeah. My music's in all the usual places for listening for your streams. So Spotify, Apple Music, those sorts of places.
Yeah.
Also, if you want to buy it, then Bandcamp's a great place.
Yeah.
Or the usual download stores, Juno Download and things like that. And then if you're a record collector or a DJ, then there's some of them have come out on 7-inch vinyl as well.
Oh, nice.
So that's the case of I think they're gone from my Bandcamp. They're all sold out. Sorry.
Don't worry.
I think they're gone from my Bandcamp, but they'll be coming back in because we're repressing some, and then plenty of online record stores have got copies as well.
So what's it like having your music on vinyl?
Yeah, lovely. It's really nice, especially I put a lot of time and effort into making the music in the first place, and it's a good feeling to have something physical to hold at the end of it.
Yeah. Are you planning like an EP or album with your material?
Yeah, so we've got an album due in September. So so the singles so far are sort of leading into that. We've got a couple more to come before the album comes out. Yeah. And then as I say, September.
Oh, cool. Are you going to have any like gigs and that with the release of the album?
I would think so. Yeah. We're looking at stuff at the moment to try and get a. Sorry, excuse my.
Oh, it's all right.
We're looking at getting gigs sorted around or shortly after the album release. So I think we'll be doing plenty of live shows to go with it.
So talking about your live shows, for people that don't know about your live shows, I saw you live at the Moseley Jazz Funk and Festival, and it was one of the best sets of the weekend.
Thank you.
And but like for people that don't know, can you tell them what to expect from your gigs?
Yeah, plenty of energy, and it's the music is made with the dance floor in mind. So it's like music for dancing, but there's some electronics in there, but then there's plenty of lovely live musician stuff going on as well. So there's a big part of it is we have a full horn section, and then we've got live percussion. Yeah, a couple of great vocalists, Lumi HD, Auden Allen, Andrea Brown as well. Yeah, and then bass, keys, and myself triggering samples and messing around with tracks and all that sort of stuff. So there's quite a lot going on.
Yeah. Cool. So like, is there inspiration? Like, is there certain artists or anyone that inspired you to like do the music you do?
I think there's plenty of artists that inspire me. I'm kind of inspired by lots of things from all over, really. I listen to like a wide variety of music, and I kind of take little bits from here, there, and everywhere, and try and incorporate it into my music. So sometimes it might be like a disco tune, but like with some sort of influences from Latin music or something like that, and try and sort of bring things together in a way that they sound cohesive and they work together. That's the aim anyway.
Yeah. Keeping like Latino sound like really fresh. Yeah, and that's what I liked about the gig as well, like the energy and like the Latino sounds and stuff like that. It was quite different as well.
Okay, yeah.
So your band's called the Tropical Sound Clash. So
the Tropical Sound Clash All Stars.
All Stars, sorry.
Yeah.
So why that name?
Well, I've been running a night in Birmingham for a few years called Tropical Sound Clash. Yeah. And that's kind of where some of the music came from. So at that night I DJ, and then I have Magoo, who's our percussionist in the band. He would play live percussion whilst I was DJing, and I'd say the first few tracks on the album are things that I specifically made to play at Tropical Sound Clash.
Yeah, yeah.
And so it kind of, you put a band together and you think, oh, you need a name, and that's just the first thing that sprung to mind. And I thought, that
cool
works
name,
okay.
Man.
Yeah,
It kind of goes with the vibe, with Latino vibe and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think I wanted to give people if you don't know the music, you can see the name and you get and it gives you a hint of what it could sound like.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's like the use of colours in like your single covers and like the advert you done for this gig and stuff like that. It's like the colours, you can tell what type of vibe it's going for.
Yeah. That's the aim all the way through. From artwork to the name and everything. That is ultimately the aim, is that that they fit together and they all represent the music.
So how long have you been gigging together?
So actually, the Moseley Jazz Festival last year was our first live show.
That's a great first gig, to be honest.
I have to say thanks to the guys at the festival for booking us in for our debut live performance of that. As I say, me and Magoo, percussionist, we've been gigging together for a long time. Where I DJ and he does that. And actually, we did do a couple of shows where it was that, and we also had a horn section playing some bits. And at Tropical Sound Clash, we've had sort of live trumpet and extra percussion and live bass and things like that. So I've sort of been dabbling with elements of the live stuff for a little while. But it was only last year where I brought it all together into a full blown live act.
So from that first gig at the Moseley Jazz and Funk Soul Festival, how would you say you developed with the way you play and stuff like that at gigs to now?
Well, I would say with it being the first one, I kind of wanted to, in some ways, keep it simple and make sure that the music, we got the music across well. So it was kind of a case of the music you heard then was pretty much as it is on the record. Yeah. Whereas since then, I've tried to, I suppose it's influences from my DJ sets and sort of club culture. More so where instead of it just being like you play one song, finish the track, then you play the next song. There's things where you have one track and then parts of the next one come in and then you mix over to the
I like
next
that
one.
idea.
And it's quite seamless. So the idea is for the dance floor that you're keeping the energy up and you're keeping it exciting.
It's like a continuous part instead of like a normal gig.
That's the idea. So I mean as we were saying, tonight's show is quite a late one, and that's
well, that's that club thing.
That's the idea. It's where I come from my DJ background. And
nice.
The idea with the live band, I always wanted to be I want us to be like a good club band, actually. Doing late night shows and working in that environment.
Oh, cool. So I'm quite, to be honest, I was just thinking I'm quite lucky that I took some videos of that first set then. So that could be for something in the future,
50 years down the line, there'll be clips of that on
the debut Sam Redmore gig,
it'll be like the Beatles playing on the roof.
Exactly. So with the band, do you have an aim you want to achieve?
I wouldn't say I've got any one specific thing that I'm aiming for. At the moment, we've got a lot of shows over the summer coming up, and it's a case of just really getting into them and enjoying them. And I reckon probably as it goes on, I'll have more ideas for what the live show could become and extra things that we could bring into it and that sort of thing. But for the moment, it's kind of a case of we've got the album ready, that's coming out. We're doing the shows to go with that, and just having a good time with those and see where it takes us.
So with the album, will that be released on vinyl as well? And
Oh,
cool.
So all the places I just listed for where you can get my music at the moment, album will be the same place as well. And looking forward to having a physical copy of that to hold as well.
So you recently had a single that came out on June the 3rd, and you had a guest on it called Sanity. So how did that come about?
So that one it started life as a studio jam with Magoo, the percussionist. Actually, I gave him a really basic drum beat, and he threw loads and loads of percussion onto it. So it was already sounding quite nice, just as a percussion groove, really. And then I built the track with so Chris, who's the bassist in our band, I sent over to him and said, just have fun with this. And he did. And sort of built the track up, and then at the end of it all, I had a nice instrumental, and I've been trying or thinking for a little while that I wanted to have a vocal on it, but was thinking about who would be right for it. And Sanity, who's a local MC, she's really good. I think she's she's on the way up, definitely. She had just had this track out, or I just heard a track that she had done with DJ Zinc, who's a sort of kind of legendary garage producer. And I heard that, and she absolutely nailed that track. And it's sort of similar tempo, and there was little bits about it that I thought that made me think I think she'd be great on this. So I reached out to her, and she was really up for it. I sent her the track, and a few weeks later she'd come back with some ideas, and it was everything about it was great. So I'm really happy with it.
So like when it comes to guests on your tracks, like what gave you that idea, like to get people in to feature on your tracks and stuff?
I mean, initially I got I started with instruments rather than sort of guest vocalists. So that it would be I'd be working on a track, and I think it would be really nice if it had some horns on it. I don't play horns myself, and so it was about finding the right contact for that sort of thing. And so first few tracks I did were instrumentals, and I started working with a variety of different musicians. And then I suppose I just decided that I wanted to do some vocal stuff as well. And I cannot sing.
But that's a good idea, getting guests in there.
So and I used to run a night in Moseley for a long time called Freestyle, which was it was like DJs, but then we'd have live music every week as well. It was all like local bands. And so I had a few people in mind that had play at that night, and that I knew from there that I thought were great, and just thought it would be cool to get them involved. So the first one was Lumi HD, and so she did Party.
Great track that was, and that was good live as well.
That's the very first track that I did with a vocalist, and I was really happy with how that turned out. And I've done some more stuff with her. We've got a new single with her coming out next month. That'll be
nice.
And then I think you'll be hearing quite a lot more of her. And then it was more a case of who else do I know, or who else would work on what I was working on, and getting different people involved. I
feel like that makes it quite unique when you've got like instrumentals and like then some vocals, so like kind of breaks it up type thing. Like
I mean, I would say I'm into listening to I love it, plenty of instrumental stuff, and when I DJ, a lot of stuff I play is instrumental, but then I'm also big into songs and songwriting and vocals as well. So
So before we go and that, have you got anything like upcoming, like your most recent upcoming gig type thing?
Sure, well, we've got quite a few festivals going on. In fact, actually, in next Birmingham gig is in a couple of weeks' time, and that's in Bearwood actually, as part of, I think it's Bearwood Festival. So that's like a nice afternoon thing in the park there. So anyone local, come down to that. And then we've got a few festivals and things over the summer. I think if my mind's gone blank now that you've mentioned it, but if you check on say my Bandcamp page, you'll see the gigs will be listed on there. So that's a good place.
Is there anything we haven't covered that you'd like to add?
Don't think so. No.
And also, have you got any recommended bands and that, like probably more along your vibe, like?
Well, I would say for a start, if you don't know his music, then Quantic is the go-to artist. If you like what I do, then a lot of inspiration comes from him. So check out his stuff and his bands.
Nice one. And the last question I always ask, and most bands get stuck on, have you got anything inspiring to say to the listeners? No. Just thanks for listening. You're listening to the right podcast right here. Nice. So stick with Callum, and you'll do well in life. Nice one. Cheers. See you later.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for joining me and enjoy your gig.
Thanks very much.
Nice one.
Cheers, mate.
Take care.
Yes, Moseley, that was amazing, weren't it? All right, are we ready to dance again? Now, you know what, I don't believe you. Are we ready to dance again? All right, let's go, man, let's do it. Woo! Okay, then. Yeah, man. I see you. Okay, we're gonna build up the vibe right now. Hey, listen. We don't deal in separation, and we don't vibe in segregation, cause all we need is preparation, because we know that the battle is won. One love, one nation, oneness, that's the revelation. One rhythm in the celebration, many bodies but the soul is one. Hey, you wanna know what I'm on? I get down with the one. You wanna know what I'm on? You better know I get down for the one. Jeez, you wanna know what I'm on? Hey, I get down for the one. You wanna know what I'm on? You better know I get down for the one. If you wanna get down, do it on the one. When I step up in the place, yes, I'm the one. Never ever number two, yes, I'm the one. I'm numero uno, I'm number one. Beat drops was a move, yeah, if I'm the one. I'm a leader by nature, that's number one. 4 beats in a bar, yo, that's number one. Can't love another till you love number one. You're gonna feel real love till you find the one. It's like one. Big goal, start with step one. Live your best life, you only get one. Many mothers, but you're blessed with one. One heart, one brain, that's one. Many limbs working for the one. I got love for the wife, she's the one. One pen, one pad, that's one. One lyric, one line, that's one. Yeah, man. Jeez. If you wanna get down, do it on the one. Yeah, man. If you wanna get down, do it on the one. Many rivers, many streams, many seas, leading to one ocean. Brain signals, hearts flowing, legs moving, hands flowing, all contributing to one destination. You see, with one goal and one focus, we can eradicate fear and ignite hope at times when life feels hopeless. You get me? You wanna know what I'm on? I get down for the one. Hey, you wanna know what I'm on? You better know I get down for the one. You wanna know what I'm on? You know I'm down for the one. Hey, you wanna know what I'm on? Better know I get down for the one. Hit it. If you wanna get down, do it on the one.
Well, that was Sam Redmore talking about his tropical Soundclashed All Stars band. And just want to say I'm sorry for saying the name wrong at the start of the podcast. I'm really sorry about that. Thank you for listening to whoever's listened today. Hope you all enjoyed the podcast. It was a short one, due to being it was the gig, the night of the gig. Obviously, Sam Redmore had stuff to do and then get stuff arranged. I think it was just after the sound checks and that when I was talking to Sam Redmore. So the timing for them was a bit tight. So we still managed to get a good couple of minutes of an interview in. So thank you for Sam Redmore for joining me, and hopefully Sam Redmore can join me for another podcast at some point in the future, and we can talk more in depth about the band and stuff like that. So yeah, I'll keep you updated and stuff like that. But now I've got some updates with Crashing In podcast. Start off with the bad news. basically, unfortunately, I'm really sad to say this. Redmore Radio had to shut down due to some reasons, I guess. I don't want to talk in depth about that, but they had to shut down. So, like, obviously, because of them shutting down, my show won't be broadcasted on radio anymore. So, like, I'm back to the basics on YouTube, just socials and stuff like that. So, yeah. So, like, just look out for me on YouTube and stuff like that. But I am in the works for something else radio related. So, in a way, not bad timing, I guess. So, like, yeah, in the works for something on that front. But just want to give credit to Redmore Radio for all the help they gave me and the support. Thank you so much for having me on the show, the station, and really appreciate it. Like, and it gets my work out there in Manchester. And yeah, I'm very sad to hear about the news. And if they're listening, please consider me for future projects if they're up for doing anything else. But on to some good news now. I don't know if you heard or follow my socials, but Crashing In Podcast is putting on an event. We're in the works of putting on an event with 2 other people, and it's really cool. Like, we're trying to get some bands together, upcoming bands and some independent bands in general. So if you know anyone that'd be up for doing a gig, or if you're listening and you want to do a gig, please get in contact with me, DM me, email me, whatever. And the music I'm specifically looking for is obviously the indie stuff, alternative, punk stuff, jazz, funk, soul, anything. We're looking for all types of genres. We're not genre specific. We're not trying to be a rip-off of any other gigs. We're trying to be a bit different, and also there's a lot of opportunities throughout doing this gig. We'll get the band on WCR radio station. The sets will be filmed, and also the bands will be interviewed if they're up for it. So, like, get in contact if you're up for it. So that's all I got for you guys now, and stay tuned for the next podcast with Andy Black out the band Turning Black Like Lizards. Please leave a like and subscribe, and take care.